What's up, everybody? This is roughly a little bit after the I had my interview with Grant, uh, and if you haven't watched that, definitely go back and watch that because I think it was a very interview. If you saying that they really enjoyed. So I want to talk about was kind of my reaction. I feel after Grant actually really a very interesting place. And there was one thing that Grant brought up during our interview, and I told him this after, is that he kept using that one word that I absolutely love, and that's story. He kept talking about how the stories you can do the same thing, and it's a different story every time. You know, Harn is a tabletop role playing game. It's been around for 40 years, rich in detail, history, and lore. I mean, look at the maps. Look at what they've done with the entirety of the system. I mean, really, I've not seen a setting that flushed out, especially on a map that you can zoom into and see all the trade routes. And even when you start getting in deeper and deeper, you can literally it'll tell you if there's locked doors, barred doors. The level of detail that are put into the maps and the background is amazing. It's in talking with him, it is inspired by the medieval Europe, and it's very realistic. And they tried to hold that the realistic side of it to make it more plausible for the players, because typically if it's something that's right in there with it, you're going to jump. He talked about the 360-day year, the 30-day, 12 months, the moon that acts the same as our moon, the 24-hour period of the rotation. These are all things that we know of every day, and still it's something that we can just grasp onto and be able to really see exactly what type of world this is. It's very Earth-like, and even to be able to have the I believe he called them Godstones, where you can go to different realms like Middle Earth or pretty much anywhere you want to go. The thing is that you can come from any world into Harn. The world building aspect of it, it's all fleshed out for you. Just need to do just a little bit of reading, the history, culture, mythology, all that's there. And I have not seen really, even my old standby that I talk about, Patolis. Patolis is a very fleshed out city. But if you start looking outside of that city, there's a lot of gray areas. Whereas the cities here are fairly fleshed out, there's a few areas that are just kind of great, but they add to them every 3 months. The lore they add to every 3 months with the subscription. This is stuff I didn't know. They are continually bringing the level of the world to that next level. They're just pushing it up over and over and over again. And the lore, it's rich and deep, and the players can explore, the GM can explore, and the world is filled with interesting characters, the factions, organizations that you can work with, and just work with and be able to be a part of. That's kind of crazy, with it, which is what I like. There's a lot of focus on the ROLE play, not the role play. And that's, I think, one thing that is missing from a lot of TTRPGs currently, is that people tend to be more worried about what can I roll. If I roll good enough, I can do whatever I want instead of having the interactions. And in order to have, those type of, fleshing out their own personal characters with the personality, their motivations, even their flaws. This is stuff that every game should strive to have in it. Whether it is, even, a Pathfinder game, a D&D game, even, looking at like World of Darkness, Exalted. This has a lot of Exalted feeling to me, just with the way that everything's kind of fleshed out, because it is a living, breathing, type of world, and especially with more background being written all the time, as I said before. And it's versatile. You can use it in, if you want to use it in just like one-off type adventures, you can. If you want to use it for campaigns, you can do that too. And for years, you can have campaign. Even Grant said you can use it for years to come. And you can get into things like the political intrigue, the dungeon crawling. There's so many different ways, depending on how your group is. You can take your game within this world. The overall thing here is that really my feelings are is that it is. I'm just dipping my toe in. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I really have not dipped my toe into this until prior to this interview. And I even mentioned during the interview the map. Mwah, chef's kiss. Love it. Love it. Because you get that detail and you can zoom in so far, and even with there's other things where which I don't have, but in just looking, you know, at the different grids and see where they're at, and be able to take that grid and bust it down and see what's in that grid, and to bust it down to a city layout, to even a building layout. And not only that, you don't even get just the overhead, there's side views too. There's just so much, they've put so much thought into this. So I would suggest that if you have not dipped your toe into this, definitely do so, because the I think you're going to find that this is a good world, especially if you enjoy world building. This is a setting that you can really and truly get into and really work with. And the the immersiveness, and it's got that raw and grittiness there, that it's like, yeah, that you want to just get in the weeds and kind of see what's over here and what's over here, because it just leads one thing to another. And you know uh, I've had several people, even within the table breakers, Bruce Lombardo, he's talked about it several times, and I've missed it. I missed the boat. I fully admit it. I missed the boat. He's mentioned it, and until I sat down with him, prior to the interview, and kind of picked his brain, because he made a couple comments during our last live stream, and I wanted to pick his brain, and I do hope that if you get a chance, and there's free stuff, they offer free stuff on their website to get into it. So I would say, if that word, we all love that word, free. Go for it. If you don't like it, you delete it. That's the thing. But I think if you are very well into the world building, into doing, I guess, the game right, no matter what system you're running, if you're running their system, or D&D, Pathfinder, World of Darkness, hell, you could even do a Vampire the Masquerade in this if you really wanted to. the setting is there. You've got that medieval type setting, and it's real. It's they've taken a lot of the true tropes from real life and put pen to paper and really went in and detailed this world out. This is something I'm probably gonna definitely dig a little bit more into. I mean, truthfully, this is kind of lit a fire. I may even start doing more videos on Hard because I'm actually really enjoying the immersion level here. So, you know, it's been around for 40 years. I don't know of another gaming company that has consistently done a product and started with that base product and just added on to it without full rewrites. I I can't tell you, yeah, that's been around for 40 years. Even if you look at D&D has changed versions, the rules have changed, everything has changed, even the worlds have changed a little bit from beginning to now. But this one has kind of stayed the course, stayed the same. It embodies that old school feel, but you can play it with a new school system. And I think that, and in talking with him about the Harn Master, you know, I may even be up to even trying that out because that there's things you got to look at is you're not going to win every fight. You got to make sure you're armored up. One hit and you could be gone. Things like this, I think, are what is the flavor and what's actually kind of missing from a lot of the tabletop role playing games right now. And now discovering this, it's kind of brought me kind of, I don't want to say full circle, but really wanting to start to look at some other things that maybe I didn't realize were out there. So, everyone, I want to thank you much for joining me. These are kind of like my thoughts, my little 2 cents here on Harn. So, I definitely want to thank you, and I will catch you next time.